This is the James Golden Show with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Welcome, my friends, to the Saturday Morning Vibe. I am James Golden, Bo Snerdley. If you would like to be part of the program this morning, 800-848-9222 is how you reach us, 800-848-9222. Today's program, of course, will feature the one, the only Princess Diana. A little bit later in the program, Princess Di will be here. America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Shrock, will be here. Our very own firebrand, Red Apple News anchorette supremo, Liz Radabali, will be here with us. The gang is here, Kelvin and Carlos, TJ, everybody's here. We're all looking forward to chatting it up with you as well. When we last got together, we were awaiting the swearing in of the next president of the United States of America. That has happened, of course, on Monday. A presidential term, usually the new terms ever since the days of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, have been gauged by the first 100 days. What has been accomplished in the first 100 days? That will all change after this. With Donald Trump as the 47th president of the United States, the new measure might be what happened in the first 100 hours. Donald Trump has taken this nation in a new direction. And it didn't take a full week. There is a headline today in the Daily BS. This is what competency looks like. A former Obama fundraiser says that Donald Trump's first week puts Joe Biden's years in office to shame. The New York Times this morning. Here's how President Trump shifted policy in his first week through a flurry of orders. The new president quickly began driving the country in a different direction on many contentious issues. And that is exactly right. And we will go through them. Some of these issues. The New York Times, President Trump's blunt message after a whirlwind week of executive orders and presidential proclamations may boil down to this: take me at my word. During 4 years in political exile after his first term, Mr. Trump vowed to radically reshape American life, culture, and politics if he got another chance. His first week has demonstrated that he will seek to do just that, and fast, as he races to make good on the promises that vaulted him back into power. Not all of his directives will succeed in the end, but already, writes the New York Times, the United States is a different place than it was a week ago. Now, at this point, let me invite many of you who do not live in the tri-state area. Of course, if you live in the tri-state New York area, your calls are always welcome. But we are in many, 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 many American cities and marketplaces. And some of you may be compelled, and we welcome you to call us and let us know what you think about Donald Trump's first week. It is hard to keep up with all of it, everything that has transpired. Yesterday, for instance, Aside from everything else that was going on, the president was in North Carolina. And we have reaction in North Carolina, taking care of the residents there who have been neglected since hurricanes hit. And some of them still living in tents. And all of a sudden this week, some of them were able to get into housing. Donald Trump was on the ground. Hours later, Donald Trump is on the ground in California. And there was a last-minute invitation sent out to Gavin Newsom. He ended up meeting Trump at the airport. Sound bites. Don't run away. Sound bites. Let's go to 28. Donald Trump meeting Gavin Newsom at the airport. And after that, my goodness. Anytime, fire at will.
Yeah, like you got hit by a bomb. Would you like to say something? Most importantly, thank you for being here. It means a great deal to all of us, not just the folks in Palisades, the folks in Altadena that were devastated. We're going to need your support. We're going to need your help. You were there for us during COVID. I don't forget that. And I have all the expectations that we'll be able to work together to get this speedy recovery. We're going to get it done.
That's Trump and Gavin Newsom. Now, he's been calling him, of course, Gavin Newscum. They have had a contentious, he's called for his resignation. But he was on the ground yesterday. And Newsom said, I'm going to show up to the airport. Then the invitation came, come to the airport. But it was a last minute. It was hasty. But they gave each other a very cordial welcome. From there, I'll tell you what, it was really interesting. Donald Trump had one exchange with, he's sitting at a table, it's a U-shaped, people all around the table, including 2 or 3 seats away from Trump, it looked like, on his right from where I was sitting, could have been the left. Was the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass. And she tried to, at one point, kind of dominate the conversation. The reaction on social media is not flattering to the exchanges that happened to Bass. Donald Trump took her to school. The whole thing runs about 3 minutes and 30 seconds, 3 minutes and 26 seconds. But let's just take a listen to that. It's cut number 27.
We're bringing our city departments together so that people don't get caught in the loop of going from one room to the next. We want them all to be in the same room so that you can get busy rebuilding ASAP. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And we will clear the lots, absolutely, in the city and in the county. We are working together. Both levels of government are working in unity.
Months? Is it like we that's the answer that we got, and that's what we're all hanging on?
Yes.
So if you're telling us now faster, is it 6 months? Is it, I mean, all of our lives, rents, all this stuff is weighing on this.
6 months is no good.
And the number one thing that we are going to do immediately, and you will see this happen, is to clear out the debris. And you know we're concerned right now over the weekend because of the potential rain, but we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe, and we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't cost a lot.
Yes, and they can.
You should let them do it, because by the time you hire contractors, it's going to be 2 years.
If a family...
The people are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can.
There's not that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, you know, it's just going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking, I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract that's going to charge him $25,000 to do his lot.
Yeah.
I think you have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because you have a very powerful emergency power, and you can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can. Well, yes, but you know that you will be able to go back soon.
Mr. President.
We think within a week.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important thing is for people to be safe.
They're safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now. They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way I look at it. I watched hundreds of people standing in front of their lots, and they're not allowed to go in. It's all burned. It's gone. It's done. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to burn anymore. There's nothing to burn. There's almost nothing to burn. And they want to go in. The people are all over the place. They're standing, and they say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit. And the permit's going to take them, everybody said 18 months. You said 18 months. You said 18 months.
That was last night.
And that was last night. On that.
We can't even see our homes right now. We are blocked from entering our streets. Right. We can't even. This is our first time we saw our house. It was yesterday.
Donald Trump, and I'm telling you what, it changed by the end of this press conference. You could see the wheels clicking in the mayor's brains. Uh-oh. He called her out. 18 months. You're talking about a week before people can go back to their own ruin. No, it's too long. Use your powers and let these people exercise the freedom to start picking up their lives right now. Not a week from now. She had previously said they're talking about permits 18 months. Trump, use your powers. He said on the federal level, we have gotten rid of all of this. We will clear the way for people to start rebuilding their lives. We are going to waive a lot of the federal regulations. And he urged her in front of the world, use your powers to do the same. Incredible. There was a reporter from Breitbart, Joe Pollack. That was amazing, too. Maybe we'll get to that a little bit later in the program. I do want to touch on some other issues. Going back to this article in the New York Times, several efforts to address climate change have been rescinded. More land open to oil drilling. The government now recognizes two immutable genders, male and female. Migrants, now referred to as aliens, are being turned away at the border, and immigration agents have been freed to target hospitals, schools, churches, in search of people to deport. There's a lot more to that story. The Democrats had installed sensitive areas where we couldn't enforce the law. All Donald Trump did was take away what Democrats did, which is to say, you can't enforce the law in hospitals. You can't enforce the law in schools. You can't enforce American law in churches. Well, Donald Trump got rid of that. You can enforce the law in America now. The New York Times large-scale tariffs have yet to be imposed, but nations around the world are bracing for those that Mr. Trump says will come February 1st. Diversity efforts in the federal government have been dismantled and employees turned into snitches. You know, these are the same people. These are the same people that went on and on about the mask mandate. Snitching was okay back in the COVID days. Snitching was okay when somebody wasn't vaccinated and you wanted to rat out somebody that didn't get their government mandated jab. Oh, snitching was okay. But now what Donald Trump is doing is saying, hey, by the way, if these people are trying to subvert my directives, the directives of the executor, the chief executive of the land, if people are willing to try to subvert, please let us know. And all of a sudden, here's the mighty New York Times. You know, why didn't they just print, hey, snitches end up in ditches with stitches? Just go full gangster, New York Times, since all of a sudden snitching is not cool. We'll be back. We've got so much more.
I don't know why I did.
Oh, it's Nora.
I left you by.
Yes.
I don't know
On this day in 2003, after a raft of Grammy nominations, Nora Jones' debut album, Come Away With Me, goes to number 1 on the U.S. charts. 11 months after it was released. It stayed there for 3 weeks. It did win the Grammy Awards, Best Album of the Year, Best Pop Vocal, Best Engineered Album, Non-Classical. This song, Record of the Year, Best Female Pop Vocal Performance, 27 million copies worldwide. One of the best-selling albums of all time, Nora Jones. James Golden, Snerdley with you. Keep it right here. Don't go away. The Saturday Morning Vibe just getting underway.
Out across the endless sea, I would die in ecstasy, but I'll be a bag of bones driving down the road alone.
This is the James Golden Show. James Golden Show. 4 words that mean business with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
We came here because she wanted a better life for us. She wanted a better education for us. She wanted for us to have a better future. And now this is all going to be taken away because of him. Because of that stupid, oh my God, stupid felon! He's a felon! He's a villain! He's a felon! I don't want him here anymore. I can't!
Calm down.
I'm not coming back. I'm never coming back here until he leaves the house. He's ruining my life, her life, and the life of every single immigrant in this country.
It's okay, baby. It'll be all right. The next time, though, you might just want to follow the rules and actually follow the law, and don't try to come in to people's country illegally, and but it'll all be better. It's gonna get better. James Golden, Snerdley here with you. Yes, we have so much to do. My friends, Pete Hegseth is going to be he is now the Defense Secretary of the United States of America. 3 had signaled that they would not vote for him earlier in the week. Murkowski, Alaska, Collins, Vermont, and the Turtle. During the week, there was some waffling. Maybe the Turtle is going to vote for him. No, the Turtle didn't vote for him. So J.D. Vance had to break the tie. Doesn't matter. All good. He's now the Defense Secretary. Despite the Turtle, despite Lisa, and despite Susan. Keep it right here. Saturday Morning Vibe continues.
The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
I had a little bit of a breakdown in Barnes & Noble just now. I went and picked up a copy of the Constitution because the other day when I went to look it up, the website was down. And the woman at the register said, "You're the second person that's come in today to buy one of these. And other people have been coming in and we just usually don't sell many of these." And I told her it's probably because the website was down the other day and that people are just generally worried. And then she started crying and we hugged and she said, "That's probably why that man bought 5 of them." And I saw this man. He was like in his 80s and like she had helped him find the section and he bought 5 of them. I need you to understand how serious the banning and censorship of books and important documents are. I need you to understand that they're going to try to erase it.
I just heard that there's ICE raids going on at 43rd Avenue and McDowell at apartment complexes. Does anyone have any footage of this or eyes on this or can confirm this in Phoenix? I have a lot of followers that are from Phoenix, so it's time to put this platform to good use. It's time to put our eyes out there and make sure that we are exposing these ICE raids. Back during SB 1070, we didn't have social media like we do today. We only had Facebook. I got a lot of followers that live in Phoenix, so let's get some eyes on this, okay?
Let's get some eyes on it. Let's get some eyes on it. That'll stop them. That my 80,000 followers. Let's get eyes on it. I'm an influencer. Let's get 80,000 people with eyes on the ICE raids. That'll make them quiver in their boots. I'm so important. Birthday tomorrow. Andrew Ridgeley, singer and the other half of Wham, with George Michael. By the way, Ridgeley's girlfriend is Karen Woodward of Bananarama. So, really cool. Happy birthday, Andrew Ridgeley. Yeah, the left, folks, they're foaming at the mouth out there. They where did we leave off with this New York Times bit? Yeah, diversity efforts at the federal government have been dismantled. Employees turned into snitches. Federal money will once again be barred from paying for abortion overseas. Well, good. Not unhappy about that at all. Mount Denali once again will be... No, it's no longer... Hey, New York Times, it already happened. Let me rephrase that for you. Let me help you. Mount McKinley is once again Mount McKinley. No longer Mount Denali after Obama changed the name. Trump changed it back. And the Gulf of Mexico is now the Gulf of America, at least according to the U.S. government. Well, what the... Of course it is. The AP is funny. They issued a story this week. Well, we're going to call Mount McKinley, but we're going to still use the Gulf of Mexico. Oh, they get to pick and choose. These people are hysterical. They're losing their minds. New York Times goes on. Career officials at agencies across the government have been let go. Hallelujah. As part of Mr. Trump's pledge to get rid of what he considers disloyal members of the deep state. Yeah, you know, the snitches, the ones that are, people ask, the ones that are trying to countermand the president's orders, would they count as the disloyal members of the deep state, New York Times? And we have stories about that, changing titles so that they could keep their precious DEI positions but bury them and hide them. Would they be considered disloyal members of the deep state, even though they are actively trying to circumvent and sabotage the president? security clearances and protections have been stripped from people Mr. Trump considers political enemies, like John Bolton, like Brennan. Ooh, don't we have Bolton? Don't we have Brennan somewhere? Because those were just too wonderful. Why, we do have Brennan. It's cut number 2. Let's go to cut number 2 from earlier in the week. Mr. Brennan. He was a little upset that his security clearance has been taken away. That'll be number 2, Carlos. You're still searching. Yes, no, it comes after 1.
The only reason why I still had a security clearance, as I have for the past number of years since I left government service, was for the benefit of the government, so that if the CIA or another government agency wanted to call me in to discuss a classified matter, they could do that. And so it was really for the government's benefit. It was facilitate those classified discussions with myself, as well as with former directors, as well as other former members of the intelligence community that had those clearances. So, again, yesterday's EO was bizarre, among many of the bizarre executive orders that he had signed out. And as you point out, he misrepresented the facts in that executive order, because it said that we had suggested that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. No, we said it was for the hallmarks of Russian information operations, including the dumping of accurate information, which is what we said in that letter. So again, this was just, his effort to try to get back at those individuals who have criticized him openly and publicly in the past.
51 of you people lied, and you got busted. You lied. You lied about Hunter Biden. You lied, and you were busted. And you can try to obfuscate and dance your way all you want to with your friends at CNN or wherever. The fact is, you lied, you're busted, you're out. No more security clearance. And he's pretending, the security clearance was for the benefits. It benefits the government. No, it benefits you. A lot of these guys use that security clearance to go hustle gigs around the world because they have access to top U.S. secrets, and they can use that in their consulting businesses. It doesn't benefit the government for you to walk around with it. It benefits you. And now it's gone. Deal with it. Bolton, another anti-Trumper. Here's Bolton, cut 3. Carlos, that comes after 2. Cut 3.
Mr. Ambassador, what's your reaction to Trump revoking your security detail, ending your security?
Well, I've had better days, that's for sure. This is, I think, typical of Trump the man. This is the kind of character or lack thereof who's now president. When President Biden, recognizing the threat against me and several other current and former U.S. government officials, authorized the Secret Service to restore protection, which I had when I was National Security Advisor, I'm sure he probably wasn't the happiest man in the world because of the criticisms that I've made of him on his foreign policy. But he did it because it's simply not permissible to allow a rogue state like the terrorists in Iran to threaten Americans, whether they're in government or not, simply for expressing opinions or, in the case of the government employees, doing their job. Trump has decided to reverse it. It's obviously within his power to do it. But I think this is a matter that people should take seriously and let them contemplate who made the right decision here, President Biden or President Trump.
Well, here's the deal. Donald Trump explained it, too. He said, you know what? And he also talked about Dr. Fauci, who's been living off government security after raking in millions of dollars during the COVID years. Donald Trump said, guess what? You guys make plenty of money. You're rolling in the cash. Pay for your own damn security. Stop charging the taxpayers. You can afford it. Pay for it. Good for him. Okay. Now, where were we? New York Times. We got through the security ones. Gulf of America. Yeah. Career officials have been let go. Okay, new regulations and new federal hiring freeze. More than 1,500 people who were convicted of crimes connected to the storming of the Capitol on January 6th have been pardoned or their sentences commuted. Yay! Many of them should have never been in jail in the first place. Then they go through. That's just the first page. All that stuff. And then immigration. That takes up an entire page. No single issue has received more attention in the first few days from Mr. Trump and his new administration than immigration. The issue has long been the center of the president's political identity. Blah, blah, blah. He issued more than a dozen immigration-related orders that included scores of policy overhauls based on the premise that the United States is being invaded by dangerous immigrants. You know what? Okay, fine. Guess what? The flights are already started. There was a story yesterday that Mexico wasn't letting one of our flight land there. It was a little kerfuffle. It's all been straightened out. The president down there doesn't want to be on Trump's bad side with this. And you know what? Despite the New York Times, despite all the wailing and moaning like that little preacherette at the National Cathedral, people are living in their fears, people are living in their fears. The American public is behind it. Cut number 6. It comes after 5. Cut number 6. After 5. For instance, your everyday kind of human being walking around America. Here we go.
There is a clear line between an immigrant and a legal. Okay? Myself, who is an immigrant, whose entire family came here legally, does not have any empathy, sympathy for someone like this lady who is crying on CBS. Her story is that she has been here 20 years, has given birth to 3 natural-born citizens. She's been here 20 years and has never taken the initiative to do any paperwork to naturalize herself, and waited until Donald Trump is back in office and wants to point the finger at him and his administration, saying that they'll go after someone like her. Ma'am, you had 20 years to fix a problem, yet it was easier for you to live in hiding and mooch off of the system because you thought that the 3 naturalized born citizen children will give you a pathway to citizenship. This is where people have lied to you. This is where your victim mentality started, was when you thought that you found a way in and cheated the system. We have no sympathy for you. We have no empathy for you. And I'm sorry, but crying on national TV and saying that your children does not deserve to have a mother living in hiding, a mother who is afraid of being deported. No one is to blame here other than you, ma'am. Period. End of story.
Boom. Okay, now, check this out. Here's another guy reporting on what's happening on Mexican television. That would be cut 18. It's after number 17, Carlos. Number 18.
Did you know that when the Mexicans are deported from the United States and they go back to Mexico, they're going to get free rent and they're going to get free food? On Mexican state national news in Spanish in Mexico, they just announced, because the ones that are being deported say they're broke, that they're going to get free rent, a place to live, and free food. And the locals are pissed. In the comments section, it blew up, and they let everybody know how they feel. They said, those are the criminals that went over there. Now they're going to come back and the crime's going to come back. And you're going to give them free rent and free food? What happened to all the money that they had over there when they were doing all of their social media saying, look at what I got with my little debit card, and they were buying all that stuff, eating shrimp and lobster all the time, and now they're coming back saying we broke, and the government's like, okay, we'll help you out so you can get back on your feet, and the locals are not having it. They don't want them to have all that. They don't want their tax dollars to go to them. They don't want to feed them, they don't want to house them, and they don't want the crime to come back.
Imagine
what the yeah, that's what's happening in Mexico right now.
James Golden, a.k.a. Snerdley. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do this and then come back and grab some calls. Who's this? Who's this, Carlos? Come on.
This is Van Halen.
Yes, it's Van Halen. That's because, let's see, birthday tomorrow for Eddie Van Halen, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
this
was
the only
their big
song
one.
I know from them.
This is the only Van Halen song you know. Well, you've done well, Carlos. Let's do this to come back. Let's grab some calls when we get back. James Golden, a.k.a. Snerdley, Saturday Morning Vibe. Keep it right here as we all jump for delight.
Baby, just how you feel. You got to roll with the punches and get to what's real. Can't you see me standing here? I got my back.
The James Golden Show. The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
So did y'all hear about this? No, you didn't hear about it. You know why? Because it makes Trump look good. They don't want anything to make Trump look good. Trump pardons pro-life activist Beverly Williams, who was imprisoned by the Biden administration for protesting outside abortion clinic. This lady been in prison or in jail all this time. Kamala didn't make a peep about this. She didn't talk about it in her speeches. All she wanted to do was bring out Megan Thee Stallion and Glorilla to twerk and give Beyonce all y'all money that y'all donated. I ain't talking about y'all, but the people who don't like my videos, the ones that come over here creeping like roaches and come and tell me about myself, tell me I'm not black enough. Well, she must have wasn't black enough for y'all because y'all didn't even care about her being locked up. Well, now she's free. Thank you, God, and thank you, Trump, the non-racist president.
Miss Anita Baker brings us back. Yes, Anita. One of my favorites. Birthday tomorrow for Anita Baker. 1986 from her debut album. That album also has one of my favorite songs, Caught Up in the Rapture, written by a good friend of mine, passed away, Gary Glenn. James Golden, a.k.a. Snerdley. Let's get to the telephones. I want to start in Pennsylvania with Vic. Hello, Vic, calling in from Pennsylvania. How are you this morning?
I'm fine. You are the best, Snerdley. There's none better. I wanted to make 2 points. The first one is that Newsom had set aside $50 million in state money to pay for the legal costs of fighting Trump's administration. And the second thing was, during his first term, President Trump visited California and was sued by Newsom because he was telling them that they had to send water to Southern California.
Now, Donald Trump brought up this water issue again yesterday, to their faces. Again. And he gave them a huge piece of his mind over it yesterday. It was a beautiful part of the presser. And you know what? The people in that were in there, in that room with him, they all applauded, including the Democrat representatives of some of these districts. It was amazing to watch. As for the $50 million, that was the California legislature, the Democrats. In fact, they came out while the fires were still burning, houses down in California, and came out to proudly say that they had committed $50 million to fight Donald Trump. And the reporter asked them, are you people? She didn't ask them, are they insane? But that was the tone of it. You've got a fire that's happening right now. Do you not care about that? You're so with your Trump hate. More recently, the same assembly guy that came out proudly just came out and demanded that the federal government send money to California with no conditions. These people are living in an alternative universe, and they do not get it. And Donald Trump yesterday reiterated, it was reiterated in the press conference, there's going to be money, but there will be conditions on the money. You got to love it. Let's go to Robert in Suffolk County. Robert, you are next. How are you?
Hi, thank you. Good morning, James. I'm okay. I'm enjoying this because these people cannot bilk the taxpayers off of the taxpayer tit. The gravy train they've been kicked off of has left the station. Goodbye. You're fired. Now they have to get real jobs.
Oh, well, we didn't even get to the part yet what Donald Trump is doing in the federal workforce. And let me tell you, they're having a cow. I've been reading, and I've read on my weekday show, I've been reading articles from Government Exec. It's an insider kind of publication for government employees. And let me tell you, the upset is beyond belief what's happening, especially this idea that they're going to actually have to come back to the office and come back to work. There is a lot of upset. And there is, and I didn't understand it, there's a difference between telework and remote work. And it turns out that a lot of what this federal government remote work is, it's a scam. It's a total scam. And Donald Trump this administration is already cleaning it up. Something else is happening out there, by the way. Republicans in Congress are talking about a $2 to $3 trillion spending cut. Our number one, number uno in the can, number duo coming up. The Saturday Morning Vibe. 800-848-9222. Keep it right here. Do not go away. Coming back. So much more.
This is the James Golden Show with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Welcome, my friends. Our number duo underway. Bo Snerdley, James Golden. It is the Saturday Morning Vibe, and we are here. Glad you are here with us. 800-848-9222. If you would like to have a part in the program, discuss whatever's on your mind with us. Within reason, of course. I cannot wait. I'm waiting. I am waiting with bated breath to see what's in the files. Well, maybe not with bated breath, but the JFK files, the RFK files, the files on the assassination of Dr. King. All this is most of it will be declassified as per the orders of the President of the United States, Donald Trump. We will get a chance to see whether the Keep Our Own Kids Safe Society has been right about a lot of things or not. In the meantime, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to check in with America's number one news anchorette, Red Apple Media star and advocate for the everyday working man and working woman, the oppressed workers of America, the oppressed people that actually build the country and make it run and are always stepped on by the wealthy and the rich. There's a voice for them, and that voice belongs to our own Lizzie Radabali. Lizzie, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Bo, and good morning to the workers of the world. How are you doing?
Hope we're doing well. Hope we're doing well this Saturday.
We are doing well. Lizzie, Ticketmaster is saying that if they have to compete, if they lose this antitrust case, I guess it's against them, it's going to end up costing fans more money. I don't know. How will people live without Ticketmaster charging a gazillion bucks to go see Taylor Swift?
Yeah, well, I thought I had a different understanding of the free market. I thought, the whole laissez-faire idea was that competition helps drive prices down. That was my understanding. I didn't really.
You have a correct understanding.
I didn't study economics, but that's what I got from history and the country's principles and the founding truths of our nation.
Yes.
Competition throughout the industry helps people. That helps the customer at the end of the day. Well, that's
competitive pressures. Yes, help in most cases to bring down prices.
Well, lawyers for Ticketmaster disagree. They say that competition would result in higher costs for concert goers, and they also say that the federal Department of Justice, who is pursuing this case against them, they don't have any proof of injury to try to seek any damages in this case. Now, I disagree with that. The proof of injury, I've seen constantly, I'm just inundated with stories of artists canceling their shows because nobody wants to, pay a mortgage for a ticket. And I've seen people who have to spend, full paycheck to go see an artist that they really want to see. And more often than not, people just decide not to. They stay at home. So, record sales, that's non-existent. It doesn't bring in any money for artists anymore. So they rely on shows. Artists rely on these shows. And people aren't going to these shows because it's simply too much money.
Well, now, Lizzie, I tend to agree with you on some of this, but I just would say that there's a reason that the successful artists are successful. It's because people do want to see them.
Well, Taylor Swift, she raked it in.
Well, $1 billion. Well, okay, I'll just leave it there for now. This is something that, though, look, people don't have to spend the money to go see them, and I think that there are a lot of art. Look, here's one thing we agree on. Between what has happened with these huge streaming companies and the way that they are exploiting artists, and yes, I'm saying it, and they are exploiting them. And these agreements that they have made using artists and the compensation that music artists get from these streaming services is disgraceful.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's disgraceful.
Pennies on the dollar is what they're getting.
Well, the royalty business has always been a business of small. Royalties are interesting, but the fact that you can have people that are doing tens and tens and tens, thousands of streams, and these artists are walking away in the best case with a few $100.
Yep.
It's disgraceful.
No, and it's terrible. And yeah, like you said, people don't have to go to these shows, but that is, that is the money bag for these artists. That's how they make the money. And, I would say people don't have to go to the shows, but I think that's like a good experience that people should have, going to concerts. I've met someone recently who's never been to a concert in their life, and I just looked at them like they were kind of an alien. I was like, what do you mean you've never been to a concert? And they're like, oh, the ones that I want to go to are just too expensive. And that was just very sad. Growing up, my mom would always tell me stories about concerts she went to. She saw, The Clash at Hofstra University, and the tickets were $20. She's seen so many incredible artists, and I follow so many incredible artists. I have, a lot of love for the music industry and a lot of favorites that I would like to see, but sadly, I got to save my money and I got to save up for the artists that I really want to see and, get ready to shell out $500 for that ticket.
Wow, life is tough, Lizzie. But I got something for you, Lizzie. Lizzie, you're a member of the media.
Yes.
Lizzie, you are a member of the media.
Yep. Badge carrying.
Okay, go in to cover the event. You're laughing. I'm serious.
No, I actually have reached out to several, press emails to get free tickets. I've only gotten it once. I've only gotten a free ticket once, and it was to
you got to work on your skills, baby. You work on your skills.
It was to
remember the media.
I know. MSG, it's hard. MSG, it's hard to get tickets, and I don't want to say anything bad about MSG because they got facial recognition technology, so I'm not going to get on their bad side.
Forever.
I'm not going to get on their bad side. But, it's tough. It's tough. I feel like a lot of these emails that I'm sending just go to some inbox, some spam inbox, and I just get shut out completely. But one day...
You got to use your connections, Lizzie. We got to talk. You got to learn how to use your connections. You got to make calls. You can't just rely on emails and text. You actually got to talk to people. Anyway, and yes, listen to that reaction. I got to talk to people.
Jeez Louise, pick up the phone.
Pick up the phone, Lizzie.
I'd rather just
Lizzie, I saw this story that you sent me, and I was blown away. This guy, he could not make it. He was where? Out in Indiana.
Indiana, yes.
Called for a pizza. The snow was so bad, no one could get through. This guy walked a half a mile through deep snow to make sure that this guy gets his pizza. And what does the guy give him as a tip?
$2. $2. And yeah, this is he asked the delivery driver after, he's like, how much was the pizza? And he says, oh, it's a $40 order. So $40, I mean, if you're going to be a bad tipper, like $40, I feel like $5 is like the bare minimum to tip. And especially in the snow, like
the guy walked through a half a mile of snow.
Yeah.
Because vehicles couldn't get through to make sure the guy had his pizza.
And the officer has said he went viral because a officer, Craig, on TikTok and YouTube, he posted this guy. He made a video of this guy being like, wow, what the heck? You're going through the snow here. Like, you're delivering pizza in the snowstorm. Nothing's going to stop you. How much did you get for a tip? And he was like, $2. And he was just outraged by that. He was like, what? You got nothing? $2? Like, that's nothing. So he posted that online and made a GoFundMe. He originally was trying to raise $500 for this delivery driver, which, $2 tip, $500, that's a pretty big come up. But he actually ended up raising $29,000.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. And it was a great thing that this police officer did to highlight this guy and just try to do a good thing for him. This is a good story. I like this story, Lizzie.
Okay, and this is where I'm going to disagree with you here. These types of stories, they're often like, they evoke a positive sort of worldview. They make you feel a little bit good. But sometimes, I don't know, these feel-good stories to me are kind of like not very feel-good. I mean, these GoFundMe stories in general, that's like become a whole entire news genre about someone's life being changed by a GoFundMe campaign. It's sort of become
you ran at the guy for getting 30 G's?
No, I mean, it's become... GoFundMe has become like the new lottery system for the down and trodden population. You just have to hope that
These are your people.
What? No,
These are your people.
Yeah,
Shouldn't
and I'm
you
saying,
be celebrating the downtrodden?
No, it's not
the
good.
Oppressed.
It's not good that this GoFundMe has become the new lottery system where people have to hope.
GoFundMe.
People have to hope and pray that someone will fall upon their sad and misfortune and post about it and, evoke enough sympathy.
Who's trying to raise money on GoFundMe? It may not be GoFundMe, but she's trying to beg for donations. You know who's begging for donations, Lizzie?
Who was that?
Daphne.
Well, yeah, I mean, GoFundMe, like I said, it's become like a lifeline.
You're going to let that go? Daphne is out raising money, trying to beg for money. You know what I'm talking about, Lizzie?
Yeah, you're talking about Fonnie Willis?
Yeah, and I'm talking about Daphne.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, GoFundMe has become a lifeline for people. Yeah, and like I said, once again, GoFundMe has become the new lottery system. You just have to hope that someone has sympathy for you. You have to hope that your numbers hit. and that you get the money that you want. Like that is the truth. GoFundMe has become like this conduit for these like feel good news stories that actually more often than not, these leave a sour taste in my mouth. Like, I'm like, wow, this guy was walking through the snow. He got a $2 tip. And then, luckily, this whole internet rallied and raised $30K for him. But what if that didn't happen? What if he was, there's also...
Then he'd be broke.
He'd be broke.
And there wouldn't be a happy ending.
And and there's plenty of broke delivery drivers out there who don't get that $30K for GoFundMe.
I don't understand this girl sometimes. I thought this was a bridge of understanding.
I like to keep you guessing, Bo. I like to keep you guessing.
You do. Lizzie, I love you. Thank you, darling.
Thank you so much, Bo.
Can't wait to see what we have next week.
Ready to stir it up next week.
I thought this was a good thing. I thought it was a good thing. Okay, folks, this is the Tom Bell hour in terms of bumper music. Why? Because American record producer, arranger, songwriter Tom Bell, one of the creators of the Philly soul sound in the 1970s, 80s, Delphonics, Stylistic, Spinners. He also worked with Dion, Johnny Mathis, Billy Paul, Elton John, so many others. But he defined finesse. Tom Bell's birthday, December 26, 1943. Passed away in December of 2022, 79 years old. I am going to do a podcast this week with Ed Shea, all about the life of this amazing producer, arranger, songwriter, Tom Bell, an American icon. So we'll be playing music from some of the Tom Bell productions during this hour. James Golden, Snerdley with you. Your calls coming up. Later on in the program, Princess Di coming up. Later on, America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Shrock, will also join us. Your calls. So much more. Keep it right here. James Golden. Lizzie confounds me. Did you hear what I said? I said, Lizzie, I think we found common ground on this story. And we had common ground. And then James Golden, Snerdley, coming back.
This is the James Golden Show. The James Golden Show. 4 words that mean business with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
So, we're gonna kill both of them, right? Right? Like, they're gonna die, right? Because no way, I'm not dealing with this for 4 years. Both of them, or one of them, needs to get shot in the face. I'm over it. I'm over it. This place.
Trump, thanks. Him showing up to North Carolina, seeing those people's faces, it's like Superman just arrived. This man is exactly what a president should be. Just a leader and a lover of the American people. That's what it should be. And all the ICE agents putting their life on the line to get these criminals out of the country, to keep us safe, that's the way it should be, but also thank you to them. I mean, this is like insane. It's like we jump timelines and things are actually back on track or headed back on track. And happy Friday.
Since the election is over, if you voted for Trump, that does not mean we can't be friends. We're both adults. We can be cordial and mature in your f***ing dreams, bitch. I hope you despair. I hope the devil takes your f***ing soul. Yeah.
but they come true when I'm near you. You're a genie in disguise.
Since the election is over, if you voted for Trump, that does not mean we can't be friends. We're both adults. We can be cordial and mature in your f***ing dreams.
I hope you despair. I hope the devil takes your f***ing soul. Yeah.
James Golden, Snerdley, the Saturday Morning Vibe. Christine has been waiting in Dutchess County. Christine, how are you? Welcome. Hello, Christine.
Hi, can you hear me?
I hear you now, Christine. How are you?
Okay, thank you. Good morning. I'm so happy to speak with you. Listen to you all the time. Love your Saturday morning show. I'm going to try and keep my thoughts together because there's a lot going on in my head. But I called because I have the opportunity to talk to a lot of people throughout my week. I do home care, physical therapy, so I'm in people's homes, and sometimes politics comes up. And I'm not there to talk about politics with them, but it does come up. And I have this really wonderful older gentleman. He's a Democrat, and we talk very civilly together. And he said, I'm afraid of Donald Trump. He's a dictator. And I get it because I consider myself a recovered Democrat, and I voted Democrat most of my life. And when I was listening to CNN and MSNBC, I also got the mind F, about all the lies and how Trump was this horrible person. So I understand it. But, I see it as, people told me, the president can't really do anything. He doesn't really have that much power. And I'm thinking to myself, what do you mean? He
has a lot of power. Christine, I need you to hold on. I want you to finish your thoughts. This is really interesting, and we got to take a break. But you don't go away. You stay right there, please. James Golden, Snerdley, Saturday Morning Vibe. We're going to continue with Christine and you and all of us.
The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley. Now, it's time for Protecting Your Future, sponsored by Colonial Metals Group. Here's James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
I have a story in my hands. This one you can find in the Daily Mail today. Glamorous Silicon Valley couple is busted in $60 million swindle that sucked in sporting titans. This story is about a high-flying Silicon Valley couple arrested, swindled investors out of $60 million, how they used the money to fund their luxury lifestyle. Alexander Beckman, 41, founder and CEO of AI firm. It's an artificial intelligence firm, Game On, and his attorney wife, Valerie LaBreckman. They're both charged in carrying out a brazen and wide-ranging fraud that lasted over 6 years. Dozens of federal charges: securities fraud, conspiracy, identity theft. They used invested cash allegedly to buy luxury homes, cars, private schools for the kids. This guy founded Game On, the name of the firm, in 2014, created AI chatbot services for customers, including professional sports teams, fashion retailers, part of the big socialite scene out there. According to an indictment, U.S. District Court in San Francisco, the scheme came tumbling down after the board of directors found a company bank account that was supposed to have $11 million in it, and it had 37 cents in the account, not 11 million. And there they started unraveling how these funds were juggled and hidden around. It's alleged that the lawyer fooled an investment firm representative at a bank last year using forged balance sheets, but was caught on surveillance cameras in the act. The investment firm had poured in $5.7 million into the company and met with the wife at the bank to see how much the AI startup had in its accounts. So it's a whole mess. But why do I say this is part of protecting your future? This is one of those, I don't know how the average investor with the average skills would have caught it, because it was so elaborate. The phony documents, the phony schemes going on here to provide documentation for what appeared to be a well-respected company in the tech sector. And unless you know the technology, how are you going to get in and uncover that there's something wrong here? I'm just going to say it. Now, usually when we do Protecting Our Future, we can talk about anything. And the intent of this was to never talk about our sponsor, Colonial Metals. Folks, there is a reason. I'm just going to say it. There's a reason that part of people's portfolio have something tangible in them. Be it precious metals, like gold or silver, or be it other things, like bonds, for instance, treasuries or whatever, that things that people can put their hands on and keep in their own safe deposit box, keep in their own safes. Am I suggesting that you don't rely on banks? Of course not. We live in a highly technical, but diversification. Keeping things tangible on hand as part of your investment strategy is never a bad idea to protect your future. And this is not the only case. There was another one on Long Island. These two were influencers, part of the Hampton crowd, the Hamptons. About the same age group, running around this jet set life, all of it built on fraud. It's amazing. These people that do this stuff they never think they're going to get caught. It's just going to go on endlessly. Anyway, we were on the line with Christine from Dutchess. And Christine, thank you for being so patient. You said you were a former Democrat. You used to buy into the narrative, the Democrat narratives. Let me just ask you a question before you continue with, what is it that changed you? What is it that made you kind of come to a different conclusion about politics, Christine?
I'm glad you asked me that. So I voted for Obama twice, and I thought that he was, the great Democratic candidate, president.
Right.
And during his second term, I remember watching him on TV giving some address or some speech, and I thought to myself, why is it that I voted for this man twice and I cannot stand to listen to him talk anymore? He's talking, he sounds great, he looks good, but nothing he's saying is resonating with me. And it's just something clicked in my brain, like, this means something. Pay attention to this. And then when Hillary and Trump were against each other and trying to get the nomination and the presidency, I just thought to myself, now, wait a minute. I was going to vote for, he really was going to vote for Hillary. And I thought, oh, it's so cool. Her husband was president, and then she'll be president. And it was this crazy thinking. And then I thought, you know what? Her only thing that she's standing on, her platform is, I'm not him. I'm not Trump. And I said, no, because now I'm looking for something more in a candidate. And I actually went into the voting booth thinking I was going to vote for Hillary because I just couldn't make that jump, especially everything I was hearing about Trump, even though I liked him all my life. I'm a New Yorker. I like Trump. I'm telling you, the voice of God or a voice from above came into me in that booth and said, don't do it. Don't vote for her. take a chance and vote for Trump. It was profound. And I know it sounds silly, but
no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, finish. So you voted for Trump. Did you have any regrets after you did that?
Another wonderful question. Yes, because I was still watching CNN and MSNBC and listening to NPR, and I was like, oh, my God, I voted for the devil. And I was talking to my conservative friends, and I'm like, how could you do this? How could you vote for him? And they were so lovely. Most of them, my Christian friends, were very lovely and gentle and said to me, listen, why don't you listen to this person online and this person and get some education about what's going on and how you're being influenced. And that's what I did. And, I mean, I didn't tell anybody except my daughter that I voted for Trump. And then the BLM thing came up and all of that. And I was like, this is nonsense. Like, they are really, really they are lying to me. They are trying to make me think something is real that is not. And I'm so happy. Like, it brings me to tears to think that I got myself away from that party that is so deceitful. Like, but then I can understand why my patients and why people I meet still are so overwhelmed by the legacy media that tells them these things. If I listened to that, and when I did listen to it, I believed it.
Right. And by the way, it's not even that the belief in what's there, it's that there is a complete absence of other information that would let you fill in. If you listen to the legacy media, you don't know half of what's going on in the news because they don't report it. The truth about, for instance, you look at all the stuff with Hunter Biden, not to belabor that, but they didn't report it. They didn't want to report it. They don't report on things that would show, for instance, Donald Trump in a good light.
Exactly.
Instead,
I said that to my patients. I said, oh, well, what about this that he did or this? They're like, oh, I never heard about that. I never heard about that.
There you go.
It's like, of course you didn't. Of course you didn't. And what I'm seeing now is Trump is actually doing what a president is supposed to do. He's the commander-in-chief. He's supposed to lead this country with efficiency and effectiveness. And he's supposed to do what the voters voted him in to do. And we're so not used to that. It's bizarre. People are like, oh, my God, he's a dictator. Look what he's doing. He's making all these rules. He's changing all these things. It's completely within his rights to do it. You know, like my patient was like, oh, well, he needs the Senate. He's making all these changes. I said, no, he doesn't. For the things that he's doing, the executive orders, he doesn't need the Congress to approve it. Like, they don't, and he's like dumbfounded looking at me like they don't get it. And these are smart people.
Smart people who, by the way, have never really paid attention to civics or understand it. Now, there are some things, and I love this too. I love that Donald Trump is doing it first and then asking questions later. This week, he dismissed 12 independent inspector generals. He did it last night, in fact. Last night, 12 independent inspector generals of major federal agencies, he got rid of them. Now, the dismissals appear to violate federal law because supposedly they require Congress to receive a 30-day notice. So people say, oh, well, no, he is challenging the rules and the regulations put in by the deep state as a means of protection. He's challenging all of that. He's asserting executive power. And this has Democrats upset. Now, if it turns out they need 30-day notice and the courts agree because they are going to sue, then fine. But what may turn out happening is that he will, and by the way, this is this whole thing with birthright citizenship that he's put on the table. Federal judge in, I believe, Washington State, a Reagan appointee, say this is blatantly unconstitutional. Well, you know what's blatant? It is blatant that this thing needs to be litigated one way or another and make sure that the interpretation of it is correct. Donald Trump is asserting executive power, and he's doing so unabashedly, and I just love it. I love what's going on here. I love these changes. So you're feeling pretty good, Christine, about the first week of the Trump presidency?
I'm ecstatic. And you know what? I just want to say one more thing. I went to kindergarten in the 60s. I'll be 62 this year. And I can remember learning all of the patriotic songs in kindergarten. And I've been a patriot. I didn't realize it, that I was such a patriot all these years. And I also love history, and I love the Revolutionary War. And I love I don't love the war, but I love the whole, how we got America.
You love the history of our country.
I love
That's what I'm hearing.
The braveness. And this is a revolution. This is a revolution, and I love it. I'm just very hopeful.
Wow. Well, Christine, I'll tell you what. I love the call. I love what you are expressing. I'm so glad you listen here. Thank you for listening. And we hope to hear a lot more from you, okay? Seriously.
Thank you.
I'll keep track
I
of
learned
you.
a lot from listening to WABC. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you, Christine. James Golden, a.k.a. Snerdley. Let us go to Roberta in Staten Island very quickly before we have to get to a break. Roberta, how are you?
Roberta. Oh, hello? Oh,
Yes, Roberta.
James. Hello?
Hi
Okay,
there.
Since President Trump is withholding federal funds for these for various education schools and this and that, he should also do it. All these schools should have metal detector machines in them, because I've seen them in the hospitals, and they need it because of the latest all these school shootings every so often.
Well, you know what's needed more than that, and I hear you. So you want metal detectors in all these schools. I would like to live in a society where we don't need metal detectors anymore. I would. I don't know. That's a pipe dream. Be real. No, I'm being real. It may take, it took us 50 years, 60 years to get to the place where we need this sort of thing in schools. It's not going to change overnight. But we can have a society where, once again, the moral compass of that society is clear and is accepted by the overwhelming majority of people in the country. And that would render the need for metal detectors and a whole lot of other things in this current society useless. A restoration of the American moral compass. James Golden, Snerdley. Celebrating this hour the music of Tom Bell through some of the groups that he produced. This, the Spinners, of course, with Dionne Warwick as the featured artist. Tom Bell, the great Tom Bell, producer, songwriter, composer, arranger. James Golden, Snerdley. The Saturday Morning Vibe continues.
The James Golden Show. The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
to the woke Bishop Trump and told him that apparently LGBT people are fearing for their lives. This gay man is not fearing for his life, because this gay man uses his brain and is not delusional. We have already lived through a Trump presidency. Last time he was elected, the Republicans controlled the House and the Senate, and nothing happened to gay marriage. We have already had a conservative majority on the Supreme Court for several years now. Nothing has happened to gay marriage. Trump's pick for Treasury Secretary is a gay man. So I'm not exactly sure why you would be fearing for your life, much less even afraid that our rights would be taken away. Every time another gay person comes to me with the typical, "Oh, how could you vote against your own rights?" I always ask them, what rights precisely are you afraid of getting taken away from you? Because that hasn't happened. In fact, last time Trump was in office, the Trump administration launched a global initiative to decriminalize homosexuality across the globe. So stop using these fake delusional arguments to support your virtue signaling fake activism.
James Golden, Snerdley. Coming up, Princess Diana. Coming up, of course, later on, America's Small Caffeinated Mom, Rhonda Shrock. Let's head back to the telephones, shall we? Tom in Westchester County. You're up next. How are you, Tom?
Good morning, Mr. Snerdley. Sir, I'm Mr. Golden. I'm a huge Trump supporter, and I call on a light note. You mentioned 2 weeks ago how Jeff Beck, you praised him, had died 2 years earlier, and later in the show you mentioned that Rod Stewart, it was his birthday. So Jeff Beck died on Rod Stewart's birthday. But you're a little young then, but two of the greatest albums ever came out in 1968, the Jeff Beck Group, which kind of launched Rod Stewart's career. You may know of them. I don't mean to insult you if you do, but one was called Truth and later was called Beck-Olo. And
I'm familiar with Jeff Beck's weight, but I did not know the connection. I'm so happy you called. I did not know that, in a way, Jeff Beck was instrumental in launching Rod Stewart's career. Explain that to me, please.
And you can still get both those albums. I would recommend the first one, well, both of them, but Truth is just phenomenal, and you'll love it. And Beck-Olo is goddamn good, too. And that's all. It's funny, in the same show you mentioned them both, and I didn't think of it until a week or so later. I said, Jeff Beck died on Rod Stewart's birthday. And that's what I didn't mean to call you. And you know, I'm a total conservative. I visited Russia's TV double taping on a Thursday and listened to one on the station. I go.
Well, I must have been there.
I was in the Army. I'm a rocker, but I know how your musical knowledge is phenomenal, and I just thought you might want to know that.
Well, I did, and thank you for sharing that with me. I always learn something. I learn something every day, stuff that I didn't know. I find out things, because, who can know it all? And so I thank you so much. I tell you what, the first time I became aware of Jeff Beck was when Stevie Wonder's Music of My Mind came out. And I'm listening to these guitar parts. I'm like, wow, who's playing guitar on that? And then Talking Book came out in 1970. And again, Jeff Beck is playing guitar on it. I'm like, I was unaware of, up until then, of Jeff Beck. But certainly, then the more you learn about Jeff Beck, and the more you see what amazing guitarist. Yesterday, we noted the anniversary of Terry Kath's passing of Chicago. And Terry Kath was another just amazing guitarists. There are so many. I was just looking at something with John McLaughlin, who is, again, one of the most amazing guitarists who ever lived. And then Django Reingold. I was you don't know Django, do you, Carlos? 1930s came to.
No, I'm just confused because John McLaughlin is also a poster.
The guitarist. John McLaughlin.
I'm guessing
He's
different people now.
Different guy. Very, very, very different. Mahavishnu Orchestra. Stuff like that. Thank you. Oh, Tom, thank you so much for the call. James Golden Snerdley. Our number duo wraps up our number trio. The princess will be here. Don't go away.
The James Golden Show is on the air with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Our number trio, my friends. James Golden Snerdley with you here. It is the Saturday Morning Vibe. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. Without further ado, I've been waiting since Monday when we last spoke.
It's time for Radio Royalty with James Golden and America's Princess of Policy, Princess Di.
To catch up with the Ness on everything, her royalness, her highness, her bestness, and baby, we got some Ness for you this morning. It's Princess Di in the house.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, ma'am. Look, it used to be the 100-day thing. How's the president going to do in the first 100 days? Ever since Franklin Delano Roosevelt declared the first 100 days of the way to set the nation's tone, we have been talking about the first 100 days of an administration. Now, after Trump, we have to talk about the first 100 freaking hours. Donald Trump is lighting it up across. I've never seen anything like this. I've never. And they can't. The wonderful thing about it is he's hitting them from so many different angles, they can't get traction on complaining about one thing, because as soon as they start complaining about it, he does something else. They have to start complaining about that. Then before you know it, he's on to the next thing, and they've forgotten about the first thing they were complaining about. It's delicious to watch this.
It is overwhelming in a wonderful way, and I think that is what I really wanted to just stop a minute after the first week and to remind everybody that we are living in an amazing, unique time to enjoy every hour of every day, and actually every 5 minutes, because it's every 5 minutes there's something new and wonderful that Trump has done. And there is a segment of our compatriots on the right who tend to look at the negative. And I just want to say, let's stop that. The people who say, let's not get ahead of ourselves, there's still a lot of work to be done, etc. And when Trump declares this the beginning of the golden age of America, they say, well, it's not started yet. We have a lot of battles to fight, which is true. However, there is a wonderful energy and a propelling forward when you're looking at the movement that we're in right now. And yes, we have battles to fight, but the best way to fight the battles is to be engaged in the forward motion, which we are. And I am here to just name this, that this is the end of American paralysis. What we have had over decades is a sort of national lack of self-confidence, which you and I grew up with, is the American can-do spirit. And it has been overshadowed in recent decades by focus on the negative and the problems, which are real. And what Trump is showing, and this is a class for the rest of us, a tutorial in American leadership and positive movement forward. And we have got to look at what he's doing, and this is what leadership looks like. I think it is so helpful because it's such a recent memory what was happening in non-leadership under Biden, which is what we all saw, the visuals of him stumbling and unable to express himself and really disappearing for long periods of time. And now in the first week, we have had a demonstration of the use of American executive power as it should be. Trump is basically behaving as a CEO. Some of those wonderful videos of Trump signing executive order after executive order, and he's in there happily answering any questions put to him by the gaggle of press people, signing, explaining, reacting, joking. And this energy is something that we all need to learn from Trump and take it as his supporters going forward. The other tutorial we saw was last night, which I know you saw, which was his performance in the meeting with Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass.
OMG.
It was so excellent.
OMG.
He was a CEO. He was questioning. He was debating. He wasn't so much arguing with her, is just stating facts that contradicted what she was saying. And he had the people in the room behind him. He knows he has the country behind him, and he especially has the people who are victims of the fires behind him, because he called her out on the nonsense of having to wait 18 months for a permit to clear their own yards, their own property. And she kept basically lying and saying, oh, no, it's going to happen within a week. They'll be able to start. And Trump wasn't having it. And so he was in command of that meeting. He was dominant. And so it was just breathtaking. After a while, I don't know if you noticed this, the fellow next to Karen Bass took away her microphone. He moved it away from her because she was just embarrassing herself by saying things that were not true and was not succeeding. And the best thing that they did was listen to Trump, stop talking, and let him get on with the practical solutions that he is so good at.
I thought there was another moment in that. Excuse me for interrupting you. The one of the moments that I really appreciated the best, Donald Trump went through it, and he talked about how FEMA was not doing an effective job. This was a comment that he also made in North Carolina. He questioned the effectiveness of keeping FEMA on. Then you had some bureaucrat, Democrat bureaucrat, well, Mr. President, I want to push back on FEMA. And he starts trying to talk about how great these employees, and Donald Trump wasn't having it. No, that is not the truth. No, you have FEMA doing this, they haven't done that. The guy is going to get up and try to argue with President Trump, and Trump just shut him down. It was beautiful. Another moment in that presser last night, you had Democrat representatives from Democrat counties that did not vote for Trump. Mr. President, let me tell you what's going on in my district. And when they talk about it and then Trump responds to them, all of a sudden the entire room starts applauding, including Democrats, because everything that Donald Trump is saying makes sense and will help California get back on their feet, and they know it. Yeah. To me, it was things like that to me are remarkable, because this is live. And those images are going to be all over, not just California, all over the country. And all these Trump haters, all these and some of them were still on social media. Oh, did you hear Trump talking about golf and everything? If that's what you took away from this press conference, then you're an idiot. One little remark on golf. But the rest of the country saw exactly what you were describing, Princess Diana. They saw this invigorated. I'm not taking no for an answer. Let's find a solution. Let's do it now. Let's get the bureaucracy out of the way. Use your power. They saw all this energy coming from Donald Trump last night. And this is after he was in North Carolina in the afternoon.
Right. Exactly. And everyone remarking upon this, we're all living through this. You can't keep up with the guy. You can't keep up with him physically. You can't keep up with all of the things that are coming out from his signing pen. You can't keep up with his decisions. And the left is left in shambles, which is, of course, icing on the cake for me. But one of the things also that little contretemps with Karen Bass showed was the difference between a builder and government bureaucracy. The difference in their perspective, the difference in their speed of analysis, the difference in talking about practical things. And she was trying to tell the mogul of New York, the mogul of all over the country, Trump Towers and building things, the timeline that was reasonable to clear out debris and to start anew. I mean, it was so obvious that she was way out of her depth, and that was something the whole country saw, the difference between government action and Trump time. And so we're in a new era, and I really want us to enjoy every single day, every single hour, and understand that, yes, there are battles ahead, and we saw one of them last night, which was a little bit tenuous, which was the confirmation vote on Pete Hegseth, who succeeded. Interestingly enough, when Trump got off the plane, a reporter asked him about his reaction to Mitch McConnell voting no. And Trump, I'm not sure it was true, but he acted surprised. And then he said, what matters is we won. And that is the attitude. He did not take the bait to say anything negative about his opponents or his problems or anything. He said, what matters is we won, and we're moving forward. And that is what we all need to take from it. It's like, yes, there's going to be difficulties. There's going to be setbacks, but we won, and we are moving forward in every single way. And this last little hold on power of the political establishment, which is Mitch McConnell and his waning troops, is just the last of them, because Trump and Trump voters have already defeated the Bushes, the Clintons, the Obamas, and the Bidens. And so the McConnells are a lesser evil light, I'm going to use that word, and they are on their way out as well. And Trump did not take the opportunity to waste any energy on them, which is what we should do. Yes, he should be called out, absolutely, because he is going to be a sand in the gears going forward. But mainly the focus is on winning and moving forward. And so one of the things that I also wanted to note was the Trump speed versus the old Democrat playbook. They clearly have not updated at all since the 80s and 90s. And so they are stuck, including the media, basically complaining about, this is terrible that people have to come into work. And the public is not going to buy any of it. I mean, you've got so many huge things moving forward that the American people agree with, 90% on deportation, which is the latest surveys. It's been amazing, and Trump himself has an approval rating of getting close to 60% after the election.
Good grief.
So this is what the American public is applauding. The American voter is applauding all of this. And that I wanted to say what Hakeem Jeffries tweeted yesterday afternoon. He said, wait, the price of eggs and the cost of living was supposed to go down, not up. So he is complaining that Trump has not fixed the cost of eggs yet in 1 week. So let them, basically have these arrows that are going to fall harmless against Trump, because everyone is going to go, be quiet to the left and to the media. They're not going to pay any attention to those attacks. So this is a wonderful cap of a wonderful week, and we're going to have much more to come.
Stay right there, Princess Di. We have to go back. I was talking about this during the break. Oh, I have to be very careful how I'm saying this. When this song first came out, I was a youngster. And even at the time, I said, why is a grown man singing about his love of a 16-year-old girl? Even then, I was like, something's odd about this. And I'm a Ringo. I love the Beatles. You know that. And I still find it odd. Anyway, this was the number one song in America back in 1974. A grown man with his praise. It's a cover song. Johnny Burnett did it in the 1960s, but Ringo did it over. And it went to number 3. Enough said.
The James Golden Show. The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Another Tom Bell production. This is the Delphonics. Birthday tomorrow of the magnificent producer, arranger, songwriter, composer, teacher, Tom Bell. You get a nice little glockenspiel in the back? Those little bells. It's so much. You listen to this guy's orchestrations. A glockenspiel is the instrument. You listen to his arrangements. They are so beautiful and so forth. Princess Di is with us. Of course, our beloved Princess Di. So many things have happened. I am getting a lot of heat from people that I know that are just really... Some people upset over this whole DEI thing, and they think that it's an invitation for... I saw one story, of course, from a leftist, Princess Di, total leftist. This is the rise of the Confederacy again. It's like, oh, really? Is that all you got? But there are people legitimately, I say legitimately because they don't understand the depth of the issue. Why is he overturning things that Lyndon Johnson did? Why is it they don't, and it is not explained in the press very well.
Right.
The impact that these things have had on setting up state-sponsored discrimination.
Exactly.
Through the guise of helping people. And he is, what I love, this takes courage, what Donald Trump is doing. This takes courage. Because it is... You know that it is going to be deliberately misreported in the press.
Yep. Exactly.
So
I do think that you did a real service to your audience when you read from the executive order explaining the philosophy. All of these things were carefully thought out over 4 years, and Trump has recreated the American ideal of the government hiring being colorblind and merit-based, which goes back to our founding principles. So this idea that something is being taken away is not true, and as you say, it has been very poorly reported deliberately, and instead we have reestablished a far better standard, colorblind and merit-based. Who can argue with that?
A lot of people, and they are going to argue, and we need to be ready to actually explain and defend it, because this is something that people look at emotionally and don't understand the argument as to why the government should not have its finger on the scale. Let me quickly tell you something else I'm very pleased that the Trump administration did. You had these 23 pro-life people. Some of them did nothing more than pray in front of an abortion clinic and thrown in jail, in prison for praying outside of a building. And Donald Trump released them. The U.S. Justice Department also dropped this case against the Texas doctor who let it be known what was going on at Texas General with this so-called transgender care where they were basically mutilating children. And Joe Biden's department wanted to arrest him and have him go to prison. And they stopped this one. So there are a lot of other things that are taking place in these opening days of the administration that are just good for the country.
Yes, and one of the fun moments in one of those executive order signing sessions was when he was asked about his comment to the World Economic Forum that he was going to demand a lowering of interest rates. And so the reporter in the Oval Office asked him, do you think that Jerome Powell, who was head of the Fed, will listen to you? And he looked at the camera and he gave a little smile and he said, yeah. Because because he was basically saying, yeah, he's going to listen to me. Yeah, I'm going to have an impact on that. And there was such a knowing twinkle in his eye that the reporter had no follow-up. So we can look forward to that as well.
I love it. Princess Diana, thank you for joining us. As always.
Thank you, as always.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming back, your calls. We got some more sound later on. America's Small Caffeinated Mom, Rhonda Shrock, will join us. Keep it right here. Do not go away. The Saturday morning vibe continues, and we are glad you're here.
The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
The magazine that came out a couple of weeks ago, In Touch, said the truth about Jen and Barack.
That was... Of all the calls you get from your publicist where you're just like, oh no, what's it going to be? Or the email saying, some cheesy tabloid is going to make up a story, and then it's that.
Yeah. Does your publicist ever go like, is there any truth to this? Or is it...
No, that is absolutely untrue.
Well, I know it's not true. Yeah. I just don't know if everybody knows.
Well, it is untrue.
Some people, it is untrue. So the truth about Jen and Barack is that there is no truth.
There is no
untrue.
truth.
You know Barack Obama.
I've met him once.
Met him once.
I know Michelle more than him.
What is there a truth about you and Michelle that we should know?
That is not true.
So, knowing that,
Oh well. Kelvin, did you been hearing about this whole thing that supposedly Barack and Michelle are not having good moments right now and are getting divorced?
I saw it the other day. Yes.
Yeah, you believe it?
100% in.
You think so? All right. How about you? Carlos? You think Barack and Michelle are like on the Rock's thing? She hadn't been seen with him. He's been going
Actually, 110%. I think they are already divorced and they're not telling us because of the timing. It's not right. Wait for it this summer.
All right, TJ, are you buying this? Come on. I mean, they can't hear you shaking your head. Are you buying this?
I don't know.
You don't know. Too messy in the court system for Barack and Michelle to go their own way. Okay. Yeah, we mentioned Anita Baker's birthday. This is the song that my dear friend, who's up in heaven now, Gary Glenn, wrote. And I have loved this song since the first time I heard it. And one day Gary was over, we were hanging out, and I had a Fender Rhodes, and he jumps on the Fender Rhodes. He says, let me show you how, and he played the song, and he's singing it while he's playing it. It's like one of those things that I can't express in words. I will never forget it. Listening to the guy that wrote the song play the song. Anita Baker, Rapture. All right, let's do this thing.
James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, presents Rapid Phones.
We want to get to as many of you as possible. Let's start off with Mark, a first-time caller from Virginia. Welcome, Mark. How are you?
Very good, sir. Privileged to speak with you. Listen to you on 8:50 a.m. And
wonderful.
Anyway, I haven't. Of course, we all miss Rush, and I was thinking a question to ask you, and you're a big doctor of music, so I got to ask you. You introduced. I think it was you who introduced me to Clarence Frogman Henry, and was that your idea to make?
Oh no, that was Rush. Oh, that was Rush all the way. That was one of Rush's. He had the Homeless Update. It even preceded him doing the syndicated show. He was doing that when he was in Sacramento.
I heard it first in like 88 or 89.
Yeah, when he started his syndicated show. I Ain't Got No Home. And I will tell you one thing about it. Rush knew music so well and knew that so well. Before he had his cochlear implants put in, and he was completely deaf, could not hear a thing. We were in the studio with him, and we used to have Brian Johnson, his engineer, had set up a light system, red, yellow, go, and Rush would talk, and he'd tell us what he wanted. Well, one day he decided to do a Homeless Update, which was, of course, this song with Clarence Frogman Henry. I'm saying to myself, how is he going to do this? He can't hear the music. So he points, the music starts, Rush talks it up right to the post and dead on his timing because of his memory, his muscle memory of music. Then we get to the interlude in the song where he does the update. He nails it to the second as if he were listening to it with his physical ears. My mind was officially blown. I think I was near tears watching this man's performance, completely deaf, being able to split second perform to the split second with music that he is not able to hear except in his own mind. It was an amazing thing. He was the consummate professional. And Mark, thank you so much. Let's talk with Mark in Connecticut. How are you, Mark? You're up next.
I'm good, Bo. It's nice to talk to you. This is also my first call. You know, I wanted to give you a shout out for your vast musical knowledge and taste. I thought I knew everything. Every single time I listened to you, I learned stuff. But just a couple of things I wanted to mention. Did you know that before, because you played Jump earlier by Van Halen, did you know before Sammy Hagar was hired that they offered the lead singer role to Daryl Hall?
No, I did not. And see, this is what I love, because I learned from you, right? Just in this one call. And this is one of the things, no matter how much I think I know, I'm always learning stuff. This is amazing. So they had offered the lead to Daryl Hall.
Daryl Hall. And he probably turned it down because he was probably one of the top 5 acts of the 80s with Phil Collins, Prince, Michael, and Madonna. He was already so established. But, yeah, he was offered that role. I also wanted to mention, since you talked about Rod Stewart and you played the Rubber Band Man today, the Spinners, in accepting the Grammy for that song, got up there and commented, "Gosh, Rod, can't you just give us a break?" Because 2 consecutive songs by them got blocked by Rod Stewart to hit number 1.
I love it. I love it.
Yes. The third thing I wanted to mention is you played a Cher song maybe 2 months ago, and it was one of the Allman Brothers' birthdays. Did you know that the song you played blocked them from hitting number 1 with Ramblin' Man in 1973?
No, I didn't know that. And see, this is what again, learning something. You are so knowledgeable. Do you have a background in music, Mark?
I don't, but I've always loved music. And you know what? Just like you, because we're close to the same age, you know, I could go from Led Zeppelin to Michael. I've always loved pop music. I always felt it was considered illegitimate, but I also loved rock music. My real love is R&B. So I think my knowledge is pretty good, but nothing compared to yours.
Oh, come on. Yes, it is.
I want to give some love to Carlos, who was playing Jay-Z's Empire State of Mind several weeks ago, which you gave him a little pushback on. I got to tell you, give it a listen, Bo, because you will absolutely love. This was an Alicia Keys written song, and she sings in the background, too. It is such a wonderful song for the flavor of New York. And it also hit number 1 the week the Yankees last won the World Series.
And
so really,
here you go to show you how on point you are. Guess whose birthday it is today?
No way.
Alicia Keys.
Wow. Oh,
it is Alicia Keys' birthday. American R&B soul singer songwriter Alicia Aguelo Cook, better known as Alicia Keys, born in 1981 on this day. Mark, you're amazing.
No, you are, though. You are. But one last comment is, you played Ringo's You're 16.
Yeah.
That hit number 1, not number 3, in 1973.
Whoa,
That was
okay.
number 1 in the U.S. Yes.
All right, boom.
Yes. Boy,
I still don't get it. I didn't get it then, and I didn't get it then, and I don't get it now. Even then, I was like, why is this grown man singing about a 16-year-old girl? This is odd.
You're absolutely right. It's
okay.
It takes on a different meaning now than it did then. I think we just thought of it as pop music at the time, but
no, I thought it was odd even back then. I'm like, something's wrong with this. I'm not feeling this. But thank you, Mark. I love your call, man. Thank you so much for calling. Hope to hear from you again. Let's go to George in Long Island very quickly. George, time's running out. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hi. Curtis Mayfield wrote People Get Ready, There's a Change A-Coming. He does a very good version with the impressions. It's just great. It really hits your heart. It really tells you what's going on today. You know,
there's a
People Get Ready,
documentary
There's a
on
Change
Curtis
A-Coming.
Mayfield. There's a documentary on the life of Curtis Mayfield. I met Curtis Mayfield, had a wonderful chat with him when I was a young man. He is, again, he's just brilliant, beyond belief. The Chicago sound, so many great musicians came out of that with Curtis Mayfield. Anyway, let you get right back to your point.
Oh, the point is, the words in it knocked me out. I heard it right before Election Day, and it really says what's going on today. You know, with the lyrics, I can't sing it, obviously. People get ready, there's a change a-coming. You don't need a ticket, you just get on board. That sums up Trump and what's going on. If you listen to it by yourself, I'm telling you, it'll bring tears to your eyes. It's the lyrics are tremendous.
That song was an anthem, and this is what people don't know. That song was an anthem, considered like an anthem, and it is talked about in the documentary of Curtis Mayfield that way. Curtis Mayfield had gospel roots, and the Impressions. Jerry Butler was an original member of the Impressions. Look, that song is an anthem. People Get Ready. And then came We're a Winner. And We're a Winner turned everything out. We're a Winner, Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions. Oh, goodness, that song went to number 1 on the R&B charts. Sandra, very quickly, I know you've been holding. I wanted to give you some light before we have to go. We got about a minute here. Sandra, got to make it count.
I just wanted to say I'm happy that Pete Hegseth got the position. I think that he's going to be different from all the other generals. Like, you know, he's young. He's going to motivate all the troops. And even me, I was never interested in the military before, honestly speaking, but now I'm interested to learn how he's going to do things. I'm interested. He got me interested, so he's going to get his troops interested, and he's going to get people wanting to join, and he's going to pick the right people, not the wrong people, not like the woke people.
Sandra, thank you. Appreciate that. Robert Finch, also born today. American disco funk group KC and the Sunshine Band. Of course, they went number 1 in 1975 with That's the Way I Like It. And then this one followed. Get Down Tonight. James Golden, America's Small Caffeinated Mom, coming up. Don't go away.
The James Golden Show. The James Golden Show. It's politics, but theater of the mind with James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
Again, remembering the heavenly birthday of Tom Bell. As we turn to America's Small Caffeinated Mom, Rhonda Shrock. Rhonda, thank you for joining us as always. This is the sweet spot, the spot where we turn to you for inspiration and you never fail to deliver. What have you got for us this week, Rhonda?
This is one of the highlights of my week, James, and in particular this week, watching the inauguration with my family in the comfort of my home was almost indescribable. We had a first-time voter. Our youngest son was a first-time voter this fall, and so it was so special for him to get to see the result of his vote. And just to watch the pageantry and the traditions and the ceremonies that are so important for a country to share together. But what I noticed was the immense relief I felt when Donald Trump was finally in office. He was finally inaugurated, and he was in that precious office going to work. And that's when I realized how much pressure I had been feeling for years. I thought back over the 4 years of the Biden administration, the persecution, actually, of Christians and conservatives, the lawfare, the debanking, all the things that we suffered under, which alone created so much pressure for good-hearted citizens. And then, of course, there were at least two assassinations on Donald Trump. They tried to kill him. And then I really began to feel even more pressure. You know, is he even going to stay alive to see the election day? And once he was elected, we were thrilled. But again, is that man going to be alive to be inaugurated? That's how I felt. I got to thinking about that intense pressure and then the dread I felt of what could happen, followed by this overwhelming relief this week. And I thought about how there isn't a person who can escape seasons of crushing pressure. Every fiber in those long, dark chapters of our lives feels like it's being stretched to breaking. We feel that we cannot take one more ounce of weight on us, and it becomes almost unbearable. And for me, during those times of darkness and pressure, it is hard to think clearly. It's hard to imagine that there's an ending to this that can be good, and it seems that there is no way out for me. When these things surface and I take time to think it through, it's always good because I look back and I think, how did I make it through? How did I survive times of intense pressure in my life? Actually, pressure, as you know, is defined as a force applied perpendicular to the surface of an object, and there's a unit called PSI, pounds per square inch, by which we measure, like, you know, the tire pressure. The boys go out and they check their tires. Well, it occurred to me that when I am feeling that unbearable pressure, that is my cue to increase very deliberately a different PSI. And for me, that means prayers per square inch. PSI, yes, when my kids are checking their tires, is pounds per square inch. But for emotional and mental and spiritual distress, there's a whole other PSI that I need, and that is those prayers per square inch of my tiny frame. And that's where I start. I feel, even in the middle of that testing, that prayer begins to bring relief, even though my problem hasn't been resolved. And therein is a miraculous thing. That's how you know that you are tapped in to the divine. When you can be in the middle of the fiery trial and find relief and find joy and even feel peace, and nothing has changed outwardly. And there have been times as I've been in it when I will actually hear God say, do not go by what your eyes can see. And it pulls me back to the truth and reality of my very real faith in him. There is one other form of pressure that I so desperately need when I am being tested, and that is the gentle, loving pressure of an unseen hand upon my back. It is the kind of loving pressure that guides you through a crowd, that guides you in the direction that you should go when you're unsure. And I saw the perfect example of it one Sunday when we were at church worshiping. We were standing singing together as a family, and I looked down, and there stood my youngest little blue-eyed boy, He was standing beside his father. He was sandwiched in between the two of us, and his father's hand was on his back. It was not a constricting, restraining, hurtful touch. He looked up at me, and I saw that this child was as happy as a little lark, that he felt the safety and the love that was in his father's hand. His face told me the truth. His face shone with contentment and just sheer happiness. That is how we are meant to live, and it is those times of high pressure when the real gems in us are being formed, just like diamonds are formed below the crust of the earth in the darkness with incredible pressure, intense heat, and then it is a volcanic eruption that forces those diamonds to the crust where they can be gathered and enjoyed. It is like that with us. If we will accept and yield and embrace those times of testing and pressure and allow them to do their work, if we will deliberately increase our PSI and we will look for that gentle pressure of that hand on our backs, we will be guided through. We will be better than we were at the beginning, and a way will open up for us that we could not have imagined. And I know what I'm talking about. It has happened for me so many times. So I want you to know, James, that so many times before I come on the air, I pray for our listeners. I actually ask God to bring to me the listeners who need to hear the message that I have. And then I trust God to do the work. So to all of my friends who are in intense pressure, I will pray for you when I hang up and ask that you will feel that unseen hand upon your back and that you will just give prayer a try. I believe that you will find some relief, and if your faith, even just a mustard seed of faith, can come to life, there will be a way through for you. I believe it. That's what's on my mind this week.
Amen. Where can we find your column, Rhonda?
It's on thedailybs.com, your wonderful website.
And where can people find you?
RhondaShrock.com, my own website.
Yes, Rhonda, thank you so much. America's Small Caffeinated Mom wraps it up for us. Thank you, Rhonda. This has been a heck of a week, ladies and gentlemen. It's been just an incredible week. And I got to thank my guys here. You know, folks, you have no idea what it takes to do this show. And Carlos, and I rib Carlos a lot, but I'm going to tell you, I love this guy. He never fails. And Kelvin, my nephew TJ, you hear Princess Diana. You hear America's Most Caffeinated Mom. You don't hear Lisa. You don't hear all the people that work to make this show happen, and I thank them all. May God bless and protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. We'll catch you next time. I bid you adieu. Bye.